Okie dokie, okay, guys. I'm just going to kind of run through some ideas for life skills training. The first thing you're going to want to do when you meet up with your client is go through what they want training on. So, the first thing that they could have training on is bus skills. So, maybe what I'll do is I'll open up a new thing and just kind of go through list. So you could train them on how to do bus skills, right? So that's maybe number one. And so if the client wants to be trained on how to ride the bus, here is what you will do. So you meet with the client, you say, we're going to work on some life skills stuff. And they say, I want to learn how to ride the bus to and from my job or around or whatever. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to reach out to me, because I can help get you bus tokens so that you can ride the bus for free, and the client can ride the bus for free. So anyway, just reach out to me and I'll get that set up for you. But when you're meeting with the client, you don't even need to go out on the bus the first initial time. You'll just want to show them a couple of resources. And the first couple of the resources that I like to show them is first the UTA website. Yeah, I'm sure if I just look up UTA, it'll come up. Yeah, right, UTA. So you can go in here and they have like a trip planner. You can call their customer service and you can ask them to help you design a route. You can even call their customer service and they'll send you the right direction, and they will send you, they can even send a trainer out to help train that individual on how to ride the bus, and you can just go with them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, rhetorical. So the first thing that I do, though, is you can use their trip planner if you prefer that. I have a hard time with the trip planner, but if you want to, you can just look up UTA, and right there you can go to trip planner. You can look up like specific schedules, maps, all that stuff. It's all on here, so you can do all that. I use Google Maps, so it does even suggest that on here. So let's say you have a client that is that's living in Payson. We'll just pick a random neighborhood in Payson. So you have a client that just lives right here. Let's say you put in their address. They live at this house. So what you would do is you would take that address right there, let's say 501 West, 600 South, that's where your client lives. You would put in, and then let's say they work at the Walmart in Orem, that one. Then up here, you can do car, you can do transit, walking, blah, blah. You're gonna do transit. So we'll flip this. So you wanna plan a trip from their house to Walmart, where they work. So, and then you can even change the time, like you can put leave now, and that would be 5:48 p.m. You could put, so say they work, what I usually do is arrive by, let's say they work tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., Wednesday, April 8th, tomorrow morning. So it just plans your trip completely for you for being there by 7 a.m. So let's just click on this first one. So what it says here is these little blue dots mean walk. So you can see walk 21 minutes, 1 mile walk. And you can print this out or show the client how to use it on their phone, all that stuff, or use it on the computer. And then it says you walk 1 mile. Let me scroll back up. You walk 1 mile, 21-minute walk, 1 mile. Do you see that? And then if the client leaves their house at 5:50, they'll be to the bus stop by 6:11, which is located there. That's the bus stop they need to be at, that specific location. And they'll ride the 8:05 bus. You see that? The 8:05 bus. They ride that bus for 41 minutes until they get to this stop at 6:52. They get off at that stop and walk 0.3 miles, 6 minutes, to the Walmart Supercenter, and they're there by 6:58 a.m. Does that make sense? So, again, rhetorical. So it gives you other trip options. For example, this one, and then it tells you how long it'll take. So sometimes, like this one might be less walking. You can see this one was 27 minutes of walking. This one is 16 minutes. So see, it's a much less. It's way less walking. But it also requires like a transfer, all that stuff, right? So this is what it'd look like if the client decided to take this route. They'd leave again 5:44 a.m. They'd leave their house and they would walk 0.4 miles to this bus stop, and they would get on the 821 bus. They would ride the 821 to this stop here, and they'd be there by 6:15 a.m. They would walk about 1 minute, it says, to the next stop and ride that 8:05 bus to Walmart. So sometimes it's better to take a longer route that requires less walking for some of our clients, right? So you can plan a trip out on your computer and you can send it to the client. You can print it off and give them the paper copy with like the step-by-step instructions and blah, blah, blah. And then, or you can even print off this map. So this has all the different routes that you could take. And you can see there's a route in blue. You transfer to the red route and you end up there. Blah, blah, blah. There's lots of different options. So you can see a blue route to a light blue route to Walmart. And this one is just strictly one blue route. So that's basically how you can do that. If you need specific help actually riding the bus, so you show the client all this stuff, they feel good about it, and you train them how to use, I would say, the app on their phone. If they could download Google Maps, if they have an iPhone, that's the best. If they have an Android or whatever, they'll have it already. So I would say that is probably the first step if you're going to do bus training, is bus skills, i.e. Google Maps training, transfers, blah, blah, blah. So if you're actually going to ride the bus with somebody and you've never rode the bus before, that's another instance where you could say, Hayden, I'm going to take somebody on the bus. I've never done it before. Can you come with me? Or you can call, like I said, UTA. If you go on here and instead of clicking on Trip Planner, you click on Customer Service, then you can call this number here and talk to them about having somebody come out and train. So I would just call this number and I would just say, hey, I have a couple of questions. I'm working with somebody who needs to plan a route to their house. They have a disability or some type of a limitation. Is there a way we could get a trainer to come help show them how to ride the bus or help us develop a route? And they'll do it all with you. So pretty awesome. Yeah, that's probably all we need to go through with that. That's probably plenty. So if you have questions or you do this in one setting, and this seems really simple, but if you're working with somebody, it can take a while to somebody who's not used to Google Maps especially, it can take a while to train them on how to get this set up, and it will take you some time to go in and like figure out what the best route for them is going to be. And again, just call me if you have questions, and you can do specific, like, best route, fewest transfers, less walking, wheelchair accessibility. There's lots of options you can do there. So anyway, that's basically all you do for bus training, and then riding the bus with them. So if you get somebody who wants to do bus training again, what you'll do is start with this Google Maps training, train them how to use Google Maps, maybe get them set up. Like what I would probably do is put the UTA number in their phone and try calling the UTA with them just so they're comfortable with it, and teach them, hey, if you're in trouble and nobody's around, this is a good option of saying, like, I'm at this route and I don't know how to get to the next route, blah, blah, blah. Or getting familiar with yourself, staying home maybe and doing some research on your own, like, what was I looking at? So like the Trip Planner, it has every route and where the routes are at. Most of our clients are going to be in South Utah County, right? So if you go in schedules and maps and you look at bus, they're all going to be bus. Obviously, there's no rail in Utah County. And you can do Utah County. And look right here. You see every single route. 805 is Santaquin, Payson, Spanish Fork, Provo, UVU. So you're going to be like, oh, that is a route I should know about, right? And it's going to show you exactly what times, everything. So pretty straightforward there. And you can look up the schedule, all that stuff. So I'm not going to click on anymore. I didn't know I was going to do that. So I guess if you do get on here, you can see here rush hour limited. It means only morning or evening. Blah, blah, blah. It's pretty straightforward there. You can see that. But anyway, you can go through here and you can be like, my client lives in Payson. Obviously, you're going to want to take a look at this and be like, oh, 805, that is a bus. 821, South County. That's a good one to know about. Oh, South County again, 822. Those are good ones to know about. Pleasant Grove, I'm not going to worry about 809, 807, 806. Who cares about those? You can kind of just go through. Like, there's not a ton, you know what I mean? There's probably just 15 or so. So you can just kind of go through and say which ones say South Valley or Payson, that kind of stuff. But basically, to train the client, just help them get familiar with the UTA system, help them download the app if they already have the app downloaded and they say they know how to use Google Maps. Still go through with them and show them how to input their address in here, their business that they're going to or wherever they're going to, the arrive by time, picking a route and determining what route is best, and maybe setting like specific parameters like wheelchair accessible, less walking, fewer transfers, best route. Because if somebody doesn't want to do transfers, they most likely won't have to. Like, you can probably find a route, especially in South County, anything Springville or South, there's only 3 buses. So you can probably find something. So anyway, stick to those 2. I'm going to pause it for 1 second while I type up my next thing. Okay, so the next thing I was thinking is probably budgeting. So when you do budgeting, let's do this. You can do, we're just doing a whole new thing. You can do just a budget. So if you have Excel on your computer, you can just log in and go, just look up personal budget or budget. Personal monthly budget, there it is, first one, right? And they already have it all set up and you'll just jump right into it. And this is all the info and you go in here and you can just do this. So let's say the client's name, you don't even need to change that. So we can say maybe this client gets SSI and they tell you they get $735 in SSI and they have a job. So let's say work and they make $250 a month working. Bang, there you go. That part is done already. So you'll just help the client and just say, okay, now we know how much money you should make per month. And maybe they do others, like they donate plasma and make $85 a month. I don't know, something like that, right? Like there's so many options. Try to come up with whatever they do and get that. Then that's what you're projecting. You don't even have to do the actuals. That's where they're going to come in. So you could do the same thing. Donate plasma and see where they're at. They can, and you can help follow up with them. So you can help set this up and then you can see like, oh, maybe they only made $45 donating plasma. That means we got to reevaluate, right? For the actual. So maybe at the end of the month, we touch base with the client and say, hey, we had this projection that you're going to make $820 this month. How much did you actually make? Oh, only $780. Okay, we got to make some small adjustments. Blah, blah, blah. So you can go through here. And again, the first appointment you have with them, when you're making the budget, you're only going to do projected costs. So let's say they live at home and spend $200. You just go through, what do you spend on rent? We'll just change it to rent, make it easy. What do you spend on your phone? Leave it at 54. And then if they don't have anything, like say, well, my parents pay for the electricity, gas, water, sewer, cable, waste removal, and that stuff right there. We'll just go through and we'll just delete it. Bang. Easy peasy, right? So that's all done. Then it all adds up for you right here. So we can have that. And then it will add up right here. So you'll see up here what your balance is. Projected income right here. What our income is minus expenses. Pretty straightforward, I hope. And then just go to different. So we'll go to the next one, entertainment. So ask them, what do you think you spend on DVDs? Nothing. Who buys DVDs? What do you spend on CDs? Who buys CDs? And you can change it to like Spotify, right? Maybe they spend $9.99 a month on Spotify. And going out to the movies, nothing right now because of coronavirus. Concerts, so nothing. Sporting events, I go to a basketball game once every month or whatever. Live theater, and then it gives you the total there of whatever, $19.99. Then we move on to the next thing, right? So it's pretty straightforward. Oh, I don't have a car, but I do have a bus pass. I pay $89 a month for my bus pass, and my parents pay for my insurance and licensing, nothing. Fuel, nothing. I take the bus. Maintenance, nothing. Other nothing. Then same thing. Loans. Oh, I've got 0 loans. So this, you know what I mean? You can make it pretty straightforward. And then maybe we get a client who has more expenses than the clients. They spend on their homeowner insurance, they spend $500 a month. Just an insanely big house, and $300 a month in health insurance, and an $87 life insurance policy. You can go through, just ask them what they got. If they don't know, then just try to help come up with a projection. So you can say like, you're a single person, how much do you think you spend in groceries, all that stuff. You know what I mean? And then the nice thing about this is all you have to do is go through each thing and ask that client, what do you want to do for your budget? Or what do you think you spend on your budget? So when you finish, say we finished all that, what we should have is $382.01 left over. So we can go back and say, you have $382 left after everything we did. So what you could do is you could give $50 to charity, some type of charity every month. You could start investing in a retirement account, maybe $50 there. Now you still got $250 left over from what you make a month. Medical, maybe you put $25 a month away for medical, and then we say you should have, go up here, you should have $257.01 left over. So you can put that in an investment account, say, or in a rainy day fund. You can call it whatever. Let's call it rainy day fund. And you can put $100 a month in that, and you invest $250 and teach the client about investing. Might be a bit complicated, but basically you can go through, oh no, we have too much money, so we'll change that to $100. And now you should be left over with $57 at the end of the month. And the nice thing is that we're getting some of that invested and teach them about what a rainy day fund is if something happens, so that we maybe save up $300 3 months in a row, and then your bus fare goes up 1 month and you have to make an adjustment. So we go up here and the bus fare jumps up to $119. Well, we can have a little bit more wiggle room, because even though we still have $27 left. Say that changes to negative $27 a month. We can just decrease our rainy day fund and take that money and put it into what we were losing from that. Does that make sense? So you want to not just set it up for them, but show them how to make adjustments to their budget, and go through how important it is to have a budget, and clean these up if you can. Let me make sure this actually works for this. Oh, I can't delete them, so that's okay. That's fine. So anyway, pretty straightforward. You can do the exact same thing on Google Sheets or whatever the Mac equivalent is to Excel. You can just go in, download the template, and just bust it out. So those are the two big ones. What I'm gonna do, actually the next one would be bridges out of poverty. So that is something you can train somebody on. So you could, again, do this curriculum where you come in and show them the bus stuff the first time, budgeting the second time, bridges out of poverty the third time, and then you knocked out your 3 meetings. And maybe the client knows really how to ride the bus pretty well, just needs a little bit of adjustment, only takes 10 minutes to show them. And then their budget is ready to go, and you've taught them that in 20 minutes. And then you've done this bridges out of poverty training we're going to go through in 15 minutes. And in 45 minutes, you've gone through these 3. Then we'll go through specific life skills activities. I highly doubt you'll go through 45 minutes of that. If you do, then we need to do a little bit more in-depth training. But with bridges out of poverty, essentially what it is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this video along with this video that I'm currently uploading. It's an hour-long training on a bridges out of poverty workshop from 4 years ago or whatever. So I'll send that out, but it is pretty interesting. And I have the physical, I think Jesus has the physical copy, and I have the goodness gracious audiobook as well. So if you guys want to learn more about what bridges out of poverty is, essentially what it is it's a training that was developed by people with PhDs, really smart people. And essentially what it is the training consists of, it's like the ACRE training, but specifically for poverty, not for employment for people with disabilities, if that makes sense. But it's the same concept. It's like a certification course, all that kind of stuff. But really what bridges out of poverty is it's teaching people that individuals in poverty, well, not even that there is a poverty culture, and there's a middle class culture, and there's a wealthy culture. So to give you a quick example of what that would be, poverty culture is what they found in a lot of the studies that they train you on, is a lot of people in poverty use ATMs and don't have a budget. And this is just kind of a random thing. So a lot of people in poverty use ATMs, and a lot of people in middle class, in the middle class norms, don't use ATMs. People in wealthy classes never ever use ATMs. That's just like a weird little snippet that they found as far as studies. But a more practical thing would be like the poverty culture is helping out your friends, your families, your neighbors before helping yourself out. So it's kind of essentially the theory behind that is that individuals in poverty need other people to survive day to day. Like if you're working 3 jobs and you're a single mom, you need somebody to watch your kids. So what you do is, if Bob lives across the street and he's going to be home while you're at your second job, you don't want to burn that bridge with Bob because you want Bob to tend to your kids, and you got to keep that rapport. Or your mom, you want to keep things going with your mom. So if your mom says, can you spot me $50, and you only have $80 in your bank account, you are going to spot her $50 because you can't lose that relationship. So relationships are really, really important to people in poverty, for example. And so there's good things about that, obviously. But what we want to teach people is that the poverty mindset of not putting yourself first, still looking out for others and still trying to do the right thing. In this specific example, it's not always bad to look out for yourself and to burn bridges and, do things that are selfish sometimes. That's the middle class and the wealthy mindset, is people in the middle class system and in upper class, they have to be selfish sometimes, or they are selfish more often than not, more often than people in poverty, if that makes sense. Another thing that they teach in Bridges Out of Poverty is like language. So generally, people in poverty. So I think the example they use in the book is a common thing that people in poverty say is now I'm trying to remember. I don't care what other people think, I think is what they say. A lot of people in poverty say things like that. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. And they almost make, a lot of times, I'm generalizing a lot, but the book kind of does that too. A lot of times the poverty culture is, I don't care what other people think, and almost like going out of their way to make sure people know that they don't care what other people think. So maybe instead of going to a job interview dressed up, and looking nice and fancy, they say, I'm going to go in jeans, I'm going to go in a t-shirt because I don't care what this person thinks. If they don't hire me because of that, I don't care. Even though they're probably not going to get the job, they say, I don't care, I'm not conforming. So middle class strategy is to conform. If I'm someone who really wants that job and I hate wearing suits, I'm going to wear a suit for an hour so I can go to this interview and have a chance to get the job, right? That's what essentially Bridges Out of Poverty teaches. So I'm going to send this link instead of me trying to go through and teach it. I'm going to have you guys watch that if you want to train your clients on that. So if you're working with a client, I'll give you an example of people who I feel like need the part. It's hard to say. If you went through their work strategy assessment, maybe you got like a recommendation from myself or Albert or the person who is job coaching this individual. Then we might make the recommendation that this person has that poverty mentality. So what the Bridges Out of Poverty essentially is teaching is that there's a poverty mentality, there's a middle class mentality, there's a wealth mentality. In order to bridge people from poverty to middle class wealth, we need to teach the strategies and the the day-to-day things that people in middle class America take for granted, I guess. We need to teach those things to people in poverty. And if people in poverty know those little hidden cues that people in middle class just naturally develop generation to generation, then that leads them from poverty to middle class, if that makes sense. So the reasons that you'd want to teach somebody that is if generally I teach Bridges Out of Poverty to individuals who are in intergenerational poverty, meaning that their parents are in poverty, their grandparents were most likely in poverty, and then that sets up their kids to be very likely to be born into poverty and to just keep the cycle going. So that's generally the client that I target to teach Bridges Out of Poverty to. If you're working with a client, for example, we have a huge caseload of clients who have developmental disabilities that are from middle class families, and are most likely never going to live completely independent without some type of support from family or the state or whatever. I think Bridges Out of Poverty is probably not the best option for that individual. I hope this is making sense. So if you have for example, my brother Max has Down syndrome and he lives with me and my wife, and if he got the Bridges Out of Poverty training, it's not going to be super beneficial to him. He doesn't communicate very well. He needs help with like managing his money. He needs help with transportation. He has almost like bigger fish to fry than a mentality change. Does that make sense? Mentality change would be somebody who is trying to live independently or has a goal of living independently, and we want to show them the middle class norms to help them get into middle class. So this is like a big thing right now too with like white privilege is kind of, this is essentially what white privilege is. I hear white privilege all the time, and essentially Bridges Out of Poverty is saying that it's not white privilege, it's middle class privilege. And I mean, that's a whole thing. But essentially, that's where this all kind of stems from. That there's a middle class privilege, that if I was born in a middle class, I know the hidden rules of the middle class, and that's going to keep me a middle class. If I was born in poverty, I'm not going to know the hidden rules of middle class, so I'm not going to be able to get out of poverty. So in order to bridge yourself out of poverty, I'm really rambling, we need to teach people the skills of the middle class. So there you go. That's essentially Bridges Out of Poverty. Really quick, rambled summation, but I'm going to send this over as well. Then the next thing that you could do is that I was just thinking about would be benefits planning. This would be for a client that gets Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, housing, anything like that. If they get anything like that, I'll do their benefits plan. And I would like, if you're assigned a client who feels like they need benefits planning, then you can schedule it with me and I will come with you. But I would like you to be there so that you can learn as well with the client, because that's always beneficial to know the basics of how some of these benefits work and stuff. Then the last thing would be the life skills general training, I think is what you'd call it, I guess. And what we'll do is we'll separate that one. So say you breeze through those and you are ready. This will probably be, so I like use the example of my brother Max. If you're working with Max, he has a really hard time with numbers and with money. And I hate saying like he's never going to be able to set up his own budget and understand. But again, it's like a priorities thing. If he can't even get to and from work by himself at this point, there's no point in like helping him set up a budget. Walk before you run kind of thing. Like, let's go through the general basic life skills things. So I'm going to keep using my brother as an example. My brother has a lot of really good skills. He's probably pretty irritable, maybe. Maybe that's just to me. So one thing you could work on with general life skills, I'm going to go through, there's 23 chapters in the book, and I am going to list them here, and I can have you guys either like screenshot this so that you have it, or I can send this to you in the GroupMe, and we're at 32 minutes. Sorry, I was seeing how long this is. So the first one is self-awareness. So that would be like some of the options are like learning. Let's do yes. Gosh, I don't even know what I'm doing. Self-awareness. So some of the chapters in the self-awareness section are honesty, loyalty, flexibility, personal values, etc. So if you have a client that you're working with that needs help with self-awareness, that would be a good one. The next section is uniquely me. Some of that would be, what is reputation? Changing reputation, how you appear to others, my ethnic background, etc. So those are things that if you were working with a client and they wanted to learn that stuff, they could do that. Then the next section is personal life choices. And that would be things like tattoos and piercings, dating, moving out, drinking, smoking, marijuana, like things like that. And one thing that I would warn people before they do personal life choices, just an opinion, is to keep your personal body. Like if I don't like tattoos and I don't want to get a tattoo, don't tell people not to get a tattoo if you're teaching somebody that. You just do it straight from the book. If that makes sense. You could leave your biases at home. So, for example, the next one is relating to others. So, working in a group. What is mood? How my mood affects others, helping others, being friendly, etc. Sure. So, there's another one. Then next section, friendship skills. Who are my friends? Making friends. Qualities of a good friend. Stuff like that. Then being part of a family. So there's a lot in here that you probably wouldn't even think about. At least I wouldn't. Respecting authority. Benefits of a family. Chores. Divorce. Etc. There's a lot to it. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go through, I'm going to pause it so you guys don't have to listen to me type this up, and I'm going to, son of a gun, where's the screen recorder? Did it stop recording? I'm going to be so mad. Okay, it's still recording. Okay, I'll be back in 20 seconds. Okay, so I've got, let me make sure that's actually recording. So I've got this all written out, so I will give everybody this. Instead of trying to get the book, these are all the chapters in the book, and here are examples. So you can go through and basically give this to your client. So if you, and it kind of goes in combo with all this stuff, but these are the big ones. If you're working with somebody and you're like not sure what to go through with them, when you get in touch with them, you can go through and say, what of these 24 things do you want to work on? There's so many. And then you can give suggestions. They say, I don't know. Well, based on, if I, again, was working with my brother Max, I would probably say the ones that he needs. He already has a job. And just knowing him the way that I do and reading through his thing, and I maybe go to Jesus and I say, Jesus, you job coached Max, what do you think I should work on? Because Max doesn't know and his parents can't decide, blah, blah. So they go through this and we all decide collectively and say, probably something like living arrangements. He's never really had roommates, maybe, or something. He could use help with that. Eating and nutrition. He likes to steal food. Maybe we could help train him on eating and nutrition and help set up a meal plan or something. So you know what I mean? You could go on option 17 with eating and nutrition and develop a meal plan. That could take like 6 hours of your time just to do that, of saying, okay, let's meal prep. Let's follow through, checking in. Hey, Mom, did Max get his meal prep done? Oh, no, I'll come help, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You can get really intensive with this and get a lot done just on one simple thing. So same thing, daily exercise. Let's set up an exercise routine. Oh, what kind of exercises do you like to do? Max loves wrestling. Well, can we set up something where he wrestles with somebody once a week or goes to like a wrestling training? Or you have a client that loves ballet, help set them up with ballet classes. I don't know. You really just need to get creative. But what I'm going to do is, what I would suggest is choose 3 to 5 of these 24 and then work on those 3 to 5 with the client. And then within this book is like 700 pages. So within each one, say you pick personal life choices, relating to others, and friendship skills. Within those three right there, those are what the client chooses, or you guys choose collectively. In the book, I can give you the worksheets and stuff so that you can go through. If you're like not feeling creative at all and you're like, I don't know what to teach about personal life choices, I don't know how to talk about tattoos and dating and drinking and smoking and all these really intricate, complicated things, then I will just give you sections from the book and you can go through. So if the section you're talking about is smoking, then you can just take the book and you're like, I don't know anything about smoking. I want to talk to the client about smoking. I'll give you the book. You do the activities straight from the book. Easy peasy. So that's where you guys will come in, is I will send this to everybody so that you have that, and I will get rid of this. So that should hopefully clear things up. I'm going to send this video, this little sheet with all of these, and this Bridges Out of Poverty video to everybody. And then obviously if you have questions, you can always reach out to me or Jesus, Alberto, Scola, whatever you call him. Okay, thanks guys.